Hello, I'm Reverend Rick, and it is my honor to be with you today. We really hope that this video is a blessing to you. And if it is, please consider making a donation. People watch our videos locally when they cannot necessarily come to church throughout the United States and the world. So please join us and click the link below and make a donation. Thank you, and let this be a blessing to you.
Let us prepare ourselves. If you put your hand over your eyes, I open my eyes to see the spiritual truth today.
I open my eyes to see the spiritual truth today.
Now over your ears to hear the spiritual truth today.
I open my ears to hear the spiritual truth today.
And now over your heart. And just extend out your arms. I open my heart to receive the spiritual truth today.
I open my heart to receive the spiritual truth today.
The spiritual truth that we're working with today is that we need both the light and the dark. We need both the light and the darkness in order to plant our seed of love, our seed of connection, our seed of success with one another. We need both the light and the dark in order to build healthy families and build workplaces that are compassionate and supportive of one another, in which we feel we're in purposeful existence. We need the light and the dark in order to have leisure time that is fun for us and meaningful for us, however we wanted to describe that in our life. Well, we're in the dark time of the year right now, and it's a powerful time for us to allow growth to happen in our lives. Now, if you've been coming for December, you know that we are in the middle of our looking at all of the different ways that different religions and cultures might celebrate light that we are. We started out with the enlightenment of the Buddha in Bodhi Day for the first Sunday, and then we went on to the Festival of Lights. That's what the word Hanukkah means, Festival of Lights, from the Jewish tradition. And today we're going to look at Winter Solstice. Next Sunday, Reverend Rick will be here with a message of Christmas. I'm going to be here too because I looked at some of his notes. It's going to be a fabulous message next Sunday about Christmas. And then Christmas Eve, we'll all come back, I hope, together, because it's a beautiful candle lighting service where there'll be more music. I'll give a short sermon, much to your delight, a smaller sermon. And Mr. Ho 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 will be here at the end of service for all the kids. So it's a great night to be here. And then the following Sunday, as Rebecca said, is our Kwanzaa. Not only we'll do that in church, but also our celebration afterwards. So it's a big month for us here in December. And today, like I say, we're looking at Winter Solstice, which celebrates the shortest day of the year and the longest night of the year, because we're moving into their darker time. Now, this is, make no mistake, this is a pagan holiday. Everybody say the word pagan.
Pagan.
Okay, nobody died, see, it's all right. Pagan is just simply a word. The literal translation of the word pagan is earth dweller. That's what it means, earth dweller. Nothing for us to be afraid of from this pagan tradition. It is simply a path. And what we do here at CSA is we ask ourselves to put away any idea that keeps us separate from one another. We get that all paths lead to God, and either we believe that or we don't. And in this church, we not only believe it, but we ask ourselves, what is the spiritual nourishment of these holidays that we celebrate? At CSA, we're not afraid to look at what other people think, and especially we're not afraid of those religions that some of us may have been taught to fear. And some of us, frankly, have been taught to fear the religion of the pagans, the earth-based traditions. There's nothing to fear. The truth is, if we dig deep enough into the belief system of all of these traditions, there's commonality in all of them. There are ways that are different that we express. Maybe we dress differently, maybe we talk differently, speak different languages, but spiritual truth is spiritual truth. And that's what will set us free. Well, today, as always, we look to blessing our altar, and so I'm going to invite Reverend Peggy up to bless the altar of this tradition.
This works. So for thousands of years, earth-based traditions have viewed all life as interconnected, interrelated, and interdependent. How we connect with the earth, the elements, and the directions are celebrated through all the seasons of the year. But now, in the spirit of this tradition of the winter solstice, we will call in the directions. So I'm going to ask you to stand and just be open to receive and to give your love to this direction that's always within you as well. And Reverend Dr. Georgia is going to assist by lighting the candle for each direction. Take this with me. And so we're going to start by facing the east, which is this direction. And just holding out your hands. Welcome energies of the east and the element of air, the breath of God. We open our minds to learn through our wisdom and our intuitive nature. Blessed be.
Blessed be.
And now turn to the south as we light our red candle. Welcome, energies of the south and the element of fire. We purify our hearts and will, remaining open to change. Blessed be.
Blessed be.
And now we turn to the west and light our blue candle. Welcome, energies of the west and the element of water. We invite our emotions to express as the love of the goddess. Blessed be.
Blessed be.
And now we turn to the north and light our white candle. Welcome, energies of the north and the element of earth. We ground and balance ourselves to be in alignment with your nature. Blessed be.
Blessed be.
And now the energy of above, or the direction of above. Father, Mother God, in, through, and as all things, we are open to your energy of divine peace and love. And now pull all this energy down into your heart, giving thanks to Spirit. Blessed be.
Blessed be.
And now if you'll stay standing, we're going to do a little song. Earth, my body, water, my blood, air, my breath, and fire, my spirit. Earth, my body, water, my blood, air, my breath, and fire, my spirit. Earth, my body, water, my blood, air, my breath, and fire, my spirit. Earth. And so it is.
Thank you. Winter solstice is about noticing change. It's not about manifesting change. It's not about creating change. It's simply about noticing change. We're moving from the fall time into the winter time. And like changes in our lives, the changes of the season cannot be delayed because we don't want them to come. It can't be delayed because of our human mind isn't ready. Simply, like changes for ourselves, when it's time, when our soul is ready, our soul will call for change in service to who we are. Just like Mother Nature calls for change in service to the wholeness of Mother Earth in our lives. You know, perhaps the Earth, because it's been millions of years that this change has been happening right around now, perhaps the Earth is ready for change. Maybe it knows it's coming. But most of us, we don't know when our change is coming. We could know. If we were better at noticing the things in our lives, we could know that, but we aren't so good, at least I'm not so good at noticing that. You know, we don't really care for change. We don't really invite change. And if we do invite change, here's what we do. We tell the universe exactly how we want it to go, don't we? You might say, I want to stop being lonely. I want a handsome man or a beautiful woman on my arm, and I want to grow old with them, and I want to live forever with them and walk off into the night. That's what we tell them, the universe. And we tell them when it should come and what that person should look like. I also tell the universe this: I want them to be all of these things, but keep in mind, I don't want to change. There's nothing I need to do internally for me. I'm perfect just the way I am. So if they don't like what they see, tell them to keep moving. But change doesn't work that way in our life. You know, when earth-based shamans hear somebody say that, look, this is what I want and how I want it, and I don't want to change to get it, they trot out what I call their seed story. Now, every religion I know has some version of this seed story in the life. The seed is clinging to the tree for dear life, and then the wind comes, as the wind must, and blows the seed directly off the tree into the ground, into the dark. See, the seed doesn't want to leave the tree. It's happy there, it's warm, it's the only home it's ever known, it feels safe. But in order for the seed to fulfill its destiny, it has to go into the dark. It has to be blown into the ground. The seed comes, the wind comes, as the wind must, for one purpose only: to blow the seed into the earth so that it can get the nutrients in the dark in which to fulfill its destiny. Now look, there are probably some people here who say, isn't that a cute church story? I like that church story. Why wouldn't the seed want to grow up and be an acorn? Why would it resist its destiny? I don't know. I don't even know if it does, but I suspect it might not sometimes. Maybe it was happy there. It's the only mother it's ever known. It was happy just being right on the leaf. Didn't want to get blown into the dirt. The seed is probably saying, damn, I should have held on tighter. I should have been a more positive person. I should have done better treatments. I should have done more forgiveness work. It's all my fault. Why is the wind being so mean to me? But with all of us, we are the seed. And the destiny that is available to us is the destiny of expressing love that this planet needs in such a deep, deep way. See, we get afraid when the wind comes, as the wind must, and it blows us into the dark place in our life, in the dark time in our life. And some of us have spent a moment in the dark, some of us have spent a whole season in the dark. And when that happens, we become afraid because we forget the through line of the seed story. And the through line, if you don't remember anything else this Sunday morning for Winter Solstice, remember this: whatever happens to me happens for me. Whatever happens to me happens for me. Say that with me. Whatever happens to me happens for me. All the time, every single time. See, but we say, no, 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 you didn't hear me, universe. I didn't want to get thrown into the dark time. I just wanted you to send me a handsome man or a beautiful woman, and I just want my way. And the universe is saying, okay, we're getting you ready. We're getting you ready. And in order to get you ready, we have to plant you. We have to get you grounded. You're not lost and you're not found. You're grounded in this lifetime. See, the Tao, which is another great earth-based religion, says this. And I may have said this a lot because I hold it personally deep to me, and I want to get everybody in the congregation holding it deep to them. This beautiful teaching of the Tao, which is this: we are all either emerging, flourishing, or dissolving. We are all either emerging, dissolving, or flourishing in our life. If we could begin to look at our life within that context, where am I? We'd be a lot less angry. We'd be a lot less fearful of going into the dark time in our lives. Because the wind will come as the wind must. If we want to change from where we are right now to where we'd like to be, and I know that there is change blooming in each and every single one of you. Each of you has some area. I don't know what it is, but you do. Maybe it's something to do with your body temple that you want to shift in your life. You don't want to be where you are now come 6 months from now. Maybe it's something in your relationship that you want to shift. Maybe it's even completing some relationships you have in your life that you no longer serve you. You're not quite sure how to do that, but you know that they need to dissolve in order for you to flourish and emerge again in your life. The wind will come as the wind must, and it will blow that desire into your heart. And when it does, it will blow you into perhaps the dark time where the nutrients are waiting for you to grow in your life. See, when it's time to change, our soul will continue to natter until our mind gets it. And when our mind gets it, that's when we begin to move in our life. But in order to change, it's not only us that have to change internally, but sometimes we have to change externally as well. We have to look at our environment and say, have I created an environment in my life in which change is welcome here, where it will be successful here? Or am I trying to put a new wine in an old wineskin and trying not to get it to leak? Because oftentimes we ourselves think we're committed to change, but when we look at our atmosphere, when we look at our environment, all we have to say is, oops, I didn't prepare for the change. I have a friend, and Dawn and I just went through this as well. This friend and her husband decided they wanted a puppy, and so they got a puppy. Now, a puppy is a whole different thing than a dog. So they brought the puppy home, and they hadn't prepared their environment for the new puppy. And so now they're mad at the puppy. Why is this puppy still peeing on the carpet? Why is this puppy chewing the remote? Why has this puppy chewed my new shoes? But the truth is, they weren't ready for the puppy. They hadn't gotten themselves organized. Whenever we feel the nattering of our soul talking to our brain, whenever we feel the winds pushing us into change, into a dark time of nutrients, we also have to say, has my environment ready? Am I ready for this kind of change in my life? You know, the Tao, the great Tao, I love those teachings. In verse 34, it says, the great Tao looks both to the right and to the left and up and down whenever there's time for change. The presence of God within you is looking to the right and to the left and to up and to down. It means that we're asking ourselves to notice, where are we emotionally, spiritually, and mentally in terms of next steps? And where is our environment in terms of all of those? So when we can begin to understand the teaching of the Tao, especially our lives are always emerging, flourishing, or dissolving, when we can get to that point, then we can look at the dark time as a time of rest, a time of welcome, knowing that we are never asked to change before we're ready. Did you know that? That's one of the things that the Spirit of God tells us in the teachings of Ernest Holmes. We will never be asked to change before we're ready. Now, that doesn't mean before you feel like you're ready, because there were times I've changed and I was not ready. I didn't think I was ready, but I must have been, because I changed. I must have been ready. You'll never be asked to change before you're ready to change. The winds will come as the winds must, but you might not feel ready, but until you are ready in your life. You know, there is a story of a young woman her name is Gabriella Sellis. Gabriella Sellis won what is called the Moth Award, which is a storytelling award group, and it only deals with true stories. And she told this story. She was a young upper middle class girl, 17 years old, and it was time for her to go to college, only she didn't want to go to college. And it was before the time when the gap year became kind of popular, where kids could just take a year off and kind of figure out where their heads are and what they wanted to do and where they wanted to go and travel a little bit and meet some people. It was before that. And her parents were adamant that she go to college and learn something to be something. And they kept driving that in her head. You're going to learn something to be something, learn something to be something. So off to college she goes. Only she had no major, and she had no idea what she wanted to do once she got to college. So she's at college, and she goes in and meets her roommate for the first time in the dorm, and the dorm says, the woman says, I'm a biology major, what are you? And she said, I had no idea what to tell her. And she said she went around the dorm to meet some new people, and every time they said, what's your major? What's your major? And she still had no idea what she wanted to do or what her major was. But she did hear this. She heard that she could test out of basic freshman composition. And she was good in English, and so she decided she was going to test out. And so the night before the test, she decides she's going to study. But this cute guy comes along and says, hey, there's a party, you want to go? And she thought to herself, study, cute guy, study, cute guy. Cute guy won, she goes off with him. But the problem is he wasn't so cute. He takes her to a deserted place and gets her stoned. Now, I'm not going to tell you all what happened, but it wasn't a good night for her. But she managed to escape around dawn. And she got back to the college, and she didn't know what to do. And a lot of us who we don't know what to do when tragedy strikes, we know that we just have to put one foot in front of the other, don't we? Just keep moving one foot in front of the other. And so that's what she did. She went to the class, and she had her blue book. And she sat down in the desk, and she put her name in the blue book, and she started to sob. Which is not unusual either, because sometimes we hold it together, don't we? Until we're in a safe environment, and then when we're safe enough to let go, that's exactly what we do, and that's what she did. And she sobbed, and she realized she couldn't take the test. So she got up and she took her blue book and she gave it to the teacher and she walked out the door. Well, the upshot is she had to take basic composition English because she didn't pass the test. But here's what it gave her. It was the wind that blew as the wind must to give her English basic composition. And from that experience, she became a very prolific writer and is a famous writer today. How is she famous? Because she wasn't going to take that class. But in order for her to go, she went through a very bad experience, and she found her major. She found part of her destiny in this life. If all of us could celebrate this winter solstice period by committing to look at the dark times in our lives, at the season either behind or in the future or now, when the winds come and the winds must and blows us into the dark place, if we can train ourselves to ask this one question, and the one question is, what is this teaching me? What can I learn from this? Should it have happened? Maybe, maybe not. It doesn't matter. All of the things that happened to us as it happened to Gabriella should never have happened to her. That was a terrible thing. But from that experience, she has knowledge. She has information. Nelson Mandela says that it took the 27 years he was in prison in order for him to get rid of the anger and begin to understand how to build a coalition that would bring down one of the most grievous cultures on the planet, apartheid. He said, I needed those 27 years. The wind came as the wind must. But from that experience, from the dark time, when he stopped thrashing, when he saw it as nutrient building in his life, change came about. So I invite you to, this week, begin to look at your life through those lenses of what it is, knowing that whatever happens to me happens for me. Maybe it doesn't make me happy, but it will make me strong. The destiny that each of you have is not a small destiny. It's a phenomenal destiny of spreading love on this planet. The way you do it is unique unto you, but your destiny is the same, and we need all of us. Let's take this message into prayer. There's only one goddess, It's the goddess of love that flows through every man, woman, and child on this planet. I give thanks for that. I release this word into the law, and together we say, and so